Yes guys, make sure you're following the GBFC Telegram. The link is in the top of the description. In the end of this month, I'm going to be giving away one of my exclusive GBFC hoodies with only 100 of them made. Coming to you guys on sale soon. As well as that, we have got a signed shirt by none other than Chelsea's main man, Cole Palmer. If you're not in the Telegram, you can't win. Link at the top of the description. Let's get cracking. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. It's Chelsea tier list time once again. The 23-24 season, we're about halfway through it now, and I'm going to rank each player from 1 to 4. 1 is top player, 2 is good, 3 is must improve because they've not been as good as they should be, and 4 is bad compared to what I think they should be doing and how they've performed so far this season. Pretty self-explanatory, as always with the tier list. Let me know what you think of my tier list. There's a massive bang of thunder outside right now. It means you got to like the video and subscribe if you are new. We begin on a slightly negative note. All of the players that we're rating here must have made 5 appearances at least off the bench so far this season. And as well as that, we're going in alphabetical order with first names. Armando Broja, unfortunately, goes into the bad category. And I'm going to keep this blunt as possible because that's what we need to do here. We need to be brutal to analyse the way that we have been so far this season. Armando Broja is a striker. Yes, he's been kind of snatching at opportunities because Pochettino hasn't really been playing him since he recovered from that injury. So you could say that it would be fair, potentially, to put him in must improve. But as a striker, your job is to score goals. When Armando Broja is playing, he's not really scoring goals. He's offside a fair amount as well. And I don't think he's bringing enough to the Chelsea team. So for that reason, I'm putting him in the bad category. I know that might be a bit harsh, but we're going to start and be brutal here in this video today. Because quite frankly, Chelsea are in mid-table. We could be in a relegation scrap. We could also be competing for European places. Right now, we're doing neither of those things, so we have to analyse where we are at and hope for the best as the season goes on. Axel Disasi is player number 2. He's just arrived in the Premier League. Bought him in last summer from the French League. I would say Axel Disasi is in the good category. I'm putting him in tier number 2. I think overall, he's been a pretty consistent performer. There have been mistakes and errors in there, but there's been a lot of high-profile individual mistakes all over the field. And I think Disasi is probably less culpable for most of the individual errors compared to a lot of his teammates. So for that reason, coming in from the French League, I think he's done well. He's in the good category. Benoit Badiashile is in the must-improve category. I think at the moment, I would say Badiashile is probably the best centre-back at the club, given Thiago Silva's age, which is weird that he's in tier number 3 instead of tier number 2, with Disasi being in good, but we've not seen that much of Badiashile this season. He was out injured for basically the whole of it. He's recently come back into things, looks really comfortable on the ball, can play a good pass going forward. He's strong, he's big, but at the same time, there have been some errors in other games. And I think maybe it comes across a bit harsh. I think he's been good, yes, but I still think he needs to improve. And I think it is, at the moment, part of the reason why Chelsea are looking at centre-back options in this January transfer window, because there's no one really locking down that centre-back position. Ben Chilwell, yes, he's been injured for a lot of it, but I don't think Ben has done enough so far this season. I've put him in category number 4. Seems harsh again, and it's difficult with this Chelsea squad. When you look at this, there are so many players who, throughout the course of this season so far, either haven't been fit for the full amount, been playing out of position, but from Chilwell, he's bound to be back soon, and I'm hoping that he comes back in the kind of form that we saw when we won the Champions League. We move into the top player for me this season, undoubtedly by a country mile, I think, right now. Cole Palmer is not only a top player, but he has been our best player so far this season. When it comes to Premier League transfer bargains, this guy epitomises a bargain. You sell Kai Havertz for around 65 million. You spend 25 million pounds less. You get a player who plays 17 matches so far, scored 8 goals, got 4 assists in there as well. And he comes from a Manchester City team where he couldn't really get a Premier League sniff. And immediately, in a Chelsea team that are evidently in transition, missing a load of key components to be an actual team, 21 years old, this guy is carrying us at times at the moment. Cole Palmer is a magnificent footballer. I'm delighted that we've got him, and I think the ceiling for where he can go in a Chelsea shirt is incredible. Moving into Conor Gallagher is also, for me, going in the top player category, which I know a lot of you know I'm a big fan of Gallagher. A lot of people think I'm crazy for saying that he's been better than Caicedo and Enzo, but please give me a good reason why I'm actually wrong with that statement. Not saying that he's a better footballer overall, but so far this season, he's been outperforming them in virtually every single sector of the field. Gallagher's been massive for us. He's bringing the fight, bringing the determination. I think it's telling that Mauricio Pochettino has given him the armband with Reece James always injured, Ben Chilwell always injured. So Gallagher, for me, is also in the top player category. And as I've said in many videos, I hope he's not sold. Petrovic goes into the good category here. I think Petrovic has come in and asked a massive question at Chelsea. I'm not saying that he is a long-term, top-quality number one. But I would say that what I have seen of Petrovic, be it the way that he's composed on the ball, likes to play out from the back, shot-stopping as well, made some massive saves in the game against Luton towards the end. I think Petrovic is a very good all-round goalkeeper. I'm not sure if he's going to be a long-term number one, but for the minutes that he's actually played and the comfort that I feel that the defenders having given him the ball, and my confidence as a fan watching him over Sanchez, I'd say Petrovic has had a good season so far. Enzo Fernandez, it is absolutely must improve. This guy, I do feel for him. He's had that, I think it's like a hernia that he had, sports hernia. And he looked towards the end before he actually went off, and he was crying in that game as well, I think against Newcastle. We found out what it was. Up until that point, you could just see the physical toll that playing all of the matches that Enzo has played has had on him. I'll be very honest though. As much as I say that he must improve, I think overall Enzo's been bad. But at the same time, I am factoring in the fact that he's been asked to do so much. Since he joined Chelsea in January, he's been that guy that we've just, whether it's Lampard, Potter, Pochettino, everyone's been looking and being like, well, this guy can't be dropped. This guy's got to play. And overall, I think that's just absolutely knocked the bloke for six, to use the cricketing terminology. He's been absolutely battered and bruised. It's taken its toll to the point where even when he comes on against Luton, we're looking and we're like, he shouldn't be on the field. He's making things worse. We'd have been better off playing with 10 men. So I'm a bit worried about Enzo. I really am. I'm concerned that maybe the speed of the Premier League might be something that is just not quite tailored to the way that he plays football. I'm not going to write Enzo Fernandez off. I watched every Argentina game at that World Cup. I know just how good he has been. And I know how good he's been for Chelsea at times as well. When it comes to those progressive passes and when he's on the ball, he's excellent. He's getting caught too often, and I think it's because he was overplayed and overworked. So, must improve. We move into Ian Maatsen. Feels bad to say this, but I mean, it's bad really, isn't it? Not necessarily performance-wise, but it's a bad season for him. He can't get anywhere close to the team. Looks as though he's going to be on the way out of Chelsea to Borussia Dortmund. Levi Colwill must improve. Again, we've got to caveat this with the fact that he has been asked to do something this season in the Premier League at the very top level of football that he's never been asked to do before. Levi Colwill is a centre-back. Pochettino has been playing him at left-back because he's been forced to due to injuries. Levi Colwill is still got a long way to go, I think, to be the all-rounded, complete defender that I thought he was coming into this season, but I'm also not going to write him off. There have been a lot of players this season at Chelsea that have not been playing in their usual roles, in the positions that they'd want to play in. Levi's one of those examples. We need a lot more from him, and I think eventually when he does get played as a centre-back, we're going to see massive improvements. Leslie Ugochukwu, I'm unfortunately putting him in the bad category. I'm going to be honest, I don't think Ugochukwu, at this point in his career, is Premier League standard, let alone Chelsea standard. It might seem a bit harsh because there have not been that many minutes, and there was a lot of people, myself included, saying that when he came on, he kind of just does the job. What is the job? What is the job? And I'm not sure Pochettino fully trusts him either. We move into Malo Gusto, who's very quickly becoming a very key, important player for Chelsea. I'm putting Malo Gusto in the good category. Yes, we can say all we want about, oh, it's such a young team and it's a shame that there's no maturity in this side, whatever. I mean, it's not the player's fault that he's 19 years old. It's not a lot of the players' faults that they're under 23. It's the board for signing too many of them. If we look at the position we're in the league table, yes, it's because we've got a lot of young players. But again, that isn't really on the player. Malo Gusto is 19. This guy is a serious right back. He can come on and play left back as well. All round, I think Malo Gusto is a brilliant Chelsea player. And I think the confidence that he has on the ball, I think he's strong, he's competent going forward and can definitely improve there. But overall, I think it's been a good start to life at Chelsea. He's had a couple of injuries and knocks that have kept him out the team as well, even with Reece being so unpredictable. But he goes into tier number 2. Marc Cucurella. There were times where I was like, yeah, he's coming back into things here. There's a redemption arc starting to peter off again. It's been bad from Cucurella. It's as simple as that. The guy is £63 million worth of a left back. He's not fit right now. Not going to blame him for that. It's whatever. Chelsea players just get injured. It's got to that point where I'm just like, there's always going to be injuries with the squad that is Chelsea Football Club. But overall, Marc Cucurella just isn't good enough, in my opinion. It's as simple as that. When you look at Chelsea in 10th place in the Premier League, there are some things that are black and white. There are certain players that aren't at the level of the money that we spent on them and that we actually invested in the first place. Cucurella was a great left back at Brighton, but maybe that was at Brighton, playing under their system with the way that they were playing football with the players around him. At Chelsea, he's one of the more experienced, even though he's not very old, and he's making too many errors, and I don't think he's good enough. We move into Moises Caicedo. A lot of good performances from Caicedo, but also, again, not the levels that we spent 100 million on. Caicedo must improve. I'm not going to say he's been bad because there are moments where I'm like, that is my CDM. Do you know what I mean? That is my man in front of the defense. This guy is a baller. He can play. Not consistently enough at this point. Moises Caicedo must be more consistent. And I think if he does find his feet in terms of like 4 or 5 really good performances in a row, I think he's the kind of player that can carry Chelsea forward to great things between now and the end of the season. Mykhailo Mudryk as well. I would say tier number 3 again, must improve consistency-wise. At the moment, Mudryk is improving. I think with Mudryk, there is the potential before the end of this season that he can absolutely explode to be one of the best performing players in the league. I can see all of the ability. I can see now that what Pochettino's asking him to do, which is cut inside, get into the box late, arrive there, give the defenders, the fullbacks, the centre-backs something to think about. That is something that I think Mudryk can mould. I think his touch has been improving. I think his confidence carrying the ball has been improving. And overall, you look at him and you're just like, you can see that he's been down. He's been doubting himself. And when he starts to score, which he has been recently, you can see there's a bit of a glimmer in his eye. And I do think of all of the players here in this tier list video, he is the one that I think could go to being a top player by the end of the season. I've got this little feeling about Mudryk. All right, I'm going to say it now here on GBFC. From this point on, I think Mudryk becomes one of the key players in this Chelsea side. I think he delivers in the second half of this season. We move into Nicholas Jackson. I wanted to say good because there's a big debate at the moment about, well, Drogba wasn't very good in his first season. Drogba was a bit older than Jackson, and Jackson scored more goals. Yes, but I think the fact that they play completely differently is also a very unfair comparison, whether you want to be on the side of defending Jackson or critiquing Jackson. Doesn't really make any sense to me. Overall, Jackson's been brought in and used predominantly as a striker. He's missed so many big chances. He's got to improve. Chelsea have created a lot of opportunities this season, and if Jackson could actually finish consistently, we wouldn't be 10th. We would be much higher in the Premier League table. So for that reason, the man that's been played as the striker for the majority of it, if I put Broja in tier number 4, Jackson's got to be in tier 3. 7 goals isn't a bad return. And he does work hard. There are flashes and moments of brilliance on the ball. Also, when it comes to the movement, he's not a bad player, Jackson. I like him, but he's got to improve. We move into Noni Madueke. Hardly been given a sniff, but when he has, he's been a top player. But I can't put him in the same category right now as Palmer and Gallagher. So Noni goes into the good category. I don't want to see Noni Madueke sold or loaned out this January. He's in form and he's playing and he's scoring. And that's all you can ask for. You can't just take a player out when he's doing that. If Chelsea loan or sell Madueke right now, we're foolish. He's one of the only players performing, getting forward, scoring goals. And we're on a little bit of a run that could absolutely improve after this video, after the last game. We've got FA Cup this weekend. We've got League Cup, chance to make it to a final. And we're only 6 points off 6th. There's a long way to go in this season, I'm telling you. Moving into Raheem Sterling. Now, this one is a bit of a debate. This one, it could have been good because he's not been awful. But overall, when you're looking for someone to carry an inexperienced team, to show up when a lot of players aren't showing up because we're young, we're still learning the manager, we're still learning each other, you expect a hell of a lot more from Raheem Sterling. And for that reason, I've put him in tier number 4. Must improve is category 3 in this tier list because we are so young. So to have the expectations that these players can be as good as we think they should be right now could be foolish. But with Sterling, there's no excuses. He's a seasoned professional. He's been doing it in the Premier League for years. The returns at Liverpool, the returns at City were fantastic. That's what Chelsea spent the money on. And that return is not the same here. So for that reason, we need so much more. And I've put Sterling in category 4. And I've also put Reece James in category 4, which seems a bit harsh for the captain. But to be quite honest, I saw all of these injuries coming from a mile away. And Reece James, on his day, is, in my opinion, the best right-back in the world. I think when Reece is fully fit and he's firing, I wouldn't pick any right-back over him. The issue is, it's not been managed. The injuries and the consistency of the injuries hasn't been managed enough to a point where I can say, yeah, it's unfortunate that he's been out injured this time, that time, but it needed to be managed better. And when we've seen Reece play, he's been a bit of a liability at times too. So it's been bad, really, if we're being brutal about it. And the same with Robert Sanchez. He just isn't a number 1 for Chelsea Football Club. Petrovic has come in, and he's a bloke that couldn't even get Carabao Cup minutes until Sanchez went off injured. He's come in, and I think he's a better goalie than Sanchez. And again, I don't want to have this tier list video be the fueling for agendas. I'm just calling it what it is. Yes, we've done well in the Carabao Cup. There's been no European football. We're only 6 points off 6th, but overall, this season's not been good, to be quite honest. So to see more players in tier 4 than in tier 2 and number 1 is not a surprise to me, and I hope it isn't too harsh to some of you as well. I wanted to be honest here. I wanted to give a fair reflection of the way that I see each one of these players. And we finish with Thiago Silva, who goes into tier number 2. Overall, even the Luton game, I'm like, yeah, we don't deserve to win this by the way that we almost crumble at the end. But if it wasn't for Thiago Silva, Chelsea get beaten at Kenilworth Road. Yes, there have been errors. Yes, there have been moments of madness, and Thiago Silva showing that he's 39 years old and maybe isn't quite ready to play 38 games a season anymore in the Premier League for Chelsea Football Club. But you cannot underestimate just how much this guy puts on the line, how much he loves the badge that we all adore so much, and still, on his given day, just how much of a Rolls Royce of a defender he can be. That is the tier list. That is my Chelsea squad, 23-24 season so far. I think we're going to go up the table a little bit. I don't think come the end of this season, this is going to look so heavily dominant by we need more, it's not good. I think this is going to improve. And at the end of the season, I will do this again, maybe with new signings. Nkunku's going to be there. He's going to have played more than 5 games for us by that point. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the tier list video and you want to see more of them. Subscribe if you are new to GBFC. And whilst you're at it, check out Shootout, my channel with Eunice, in the description, and also my vlog channel. It's my old main channel. There's over 1 million subscribers on it. I'm back doing travel videos there, so check that out as well. Come on, you Blues.